Today, we talk about...
This is Inside You Podcast. I'm Jordan Rosengarten.
Sadra Azizi to the left.
And we're just going to jump into it because he's going to jump in anyway. We have the amazing Geno Bisconte with us today.
That guy's... Oh, it's me. Yeah, hey.
Who you
Hi.
can hear...
Amazing I showed up. Is that what you mean?
Can they hear you daily on Compound Media?
They can hear us 4 days a week from Monday through Thursday, 9 to 10 a.m., me and Aaron Berg, in hot water, having a lot of fun with it.
Right. And you guys, you don't use a lot of salty language. You guys are very...
very straightforward.
Yes.
Very,
it's a religious podcast.
It is a very... I don't know what it is, but it's just us being stupid for an hour, 15 minutes every morning.
I'm already in.
Well, I think at one point I saw Aaron was dressed up as a gorilla.
Yeah, that was
Harambe.
Oh, that's the thing. Like, well, we're behind a paywall, and anyone that just looks at it with a cursory glance to try, they're like, oh, it's so racist. It's not. Like, he has another character that we've faded away. We've just evolved away from it. When we first started, we were doing once a week. Tuesdays, 2 to 3:30. So we would, whatever happened that week, we'd like just have an idea. So the third week we're doing it, Pulse nightclub shooting. So Aaron dresses up as a character called ISIS faggot. Now,
that was great.
People that hate words, and I say this, I'm acting like, oh, that's terrible. No, you're an asshole, okay? I've had it with people. This is what is wrong with this country. They just see ISIS faggot, like, well, that's hateful. No, this is us making fun of organized religion where they teach you being gay is being born wrong, you know?
Right.
Okay, so you become such a self-hating person that you don't want to admit you're gay till you kill a shit ton of gay people. And then you're like, yeah, but I was a member of ISIS.
What you're saying is people don't see the satire in it.
They don't see the satire in it.
So can I interject real quick? Because I've always wondered this, right?
Yes.
I love this theme I constantly hear with comedians that are like, you just didn't get it. We were going for the good thing. You took it as the bad thing. Right. But so let me play devil's advocate for a second.
Please.
Do you feel like maybe some of that responsibility falls on us to like explain it better off the rip? Because if we don't, we leave it up to other people to take it the wrong way.
No, but here's why. And I'm not saying I'm right, but here's why. Because genuine comedy, unlike the shit you see on Comedy Central. And if you think Nanette is good, I don't mind that you're fucking stupid and retarded. Let me say this about Nanette. She is the funniest, angry, lesbian, molested, fat, transgender comic in the industry. And that's the problem with this world. Every time she got off stage, in her defense, she never got a fair critique of who she was. How'd I do? You're the funniest, gay, lesbian, angry, fat. And in a way, that's correct, but that's not funny. Getting back to what you're saying, you know what comedy is? When you laugh immediately. It comes from inside you. It's fucking gratitude, and there's no logical explanation for it. So I'm going for that. And because of the beauty of the world where intelligent people use words like anything else for good, then we can discuss it. So when we do the ISIS faggot thing, or the Andre Harambe Jenkins, which was a gorilla, which was, representing poor Harambe, who got shot because some people don't know how to parent, because people don't know the word parent is a verb, because you know why they couldn't shoot the animal with a tranquilizer gun?
What's that?
Because he wouldn't have fainted immediately, and he would have went nuts and ripped the kid to shreds.
But hold on. It seems like a lot of people are becoming like teachers now. I feel like listen, you go to school, right? The first thing you laugh at is the kid who farts, right?
Yeah.
It's inappropriate.
Yeah.
But the teacher's like, no, that's inappropriate. You don't laugh at that.
Right.
And now everyone's becoming like, that's inappropriate. You shouldn't laugh at that, when it's like, well, if I find it funny, I should laugh at it.
Yes.
And by the way, I listened to a lot of the shows on Compound Media, and I was actually having this conversation with someone else. There's never, it's not like, oh, do you agree with their view? I'm like, this is not a show like I get my views from. I'm like, my views are I want to laugh.
Yeah.
And that's what comedy is. Like, I have comedian friends that have a spectrum of views. I don't give a shit about any of them. I honestly don't.
No.
All I care about at the end of the day, we actually had Cass on a couple of episodes, the really funny sketch comedian. And I said, like, what I liked the best about her, she does like a female-driven, but it's never about that. It's about being funny. That's all I give a fuck about.
But it's also about getting back to what you're saying. Is it on us? It's on us to be able to defend our point, to just prove we're not going for the cheap laugh. You know what I mean?
Right.
And to open a conversation with people that have become so arrogant that they want to take laughter from us. The greatest thing you can be in any single moment is happy.
Yep.
And not only do people want us to not laugh, they don't realize it, but they want us to see them not laughing and feel bad for laughing. And that's awful. And getting back to your question, once I say it, it's out there. Now, let's have an intelligent conversation using words. Any word I want, because I hate when people are like, that's a bad word. No, it's not.
Right.
If you're an intelligent person, if you're raised right, if you're raised for good, you will use anything, words, water, anything for the joy, the good to help others. You understand? It's like this, I say this in my act, and it's a joke in the act, but it's literally true. I'll look at a cute little couple in the front row. I'm like, you're a cute couple, right? Let's say that you want to impress her tonight. So you go home and you build her a fire. That's a nice fire. That's a romantic fire, right? Let's say you take that same fire, and I'll point at a black guy next to him, and you burn a cross on his lawn. That's a bad fire. It's the same fire. It's the same fire. And it's funny, and it's third grade humor, but it's a simple fact. And people will be like, yeah, you can't make fun of slavery. Slavery was bad. Suck my dick. Sit down, Adam. Suck my dick. Because if I walked up to you on the street and said, Jordan, you know slavery was bad, wouldn't you be like, how dare you tell me that like I didn't know it? So when you do a joke making fun, and then I'll be done with this diatribe.
So I gotta.
When I do a joke making fun of how far we've come, how dumb we were in the 1600s,
I have to
and let's laugh at us now. Oh, please.
I have to.
Slavery is good. Fine, I'll take it.
You took the words right out of my mouth, which totally like. But I do think
it's
that
just a bad business model.
Yeah,
I know.
it's actually the shit. And I gotta say, like, if the roles were reversed, do you think like on the other side, like they'd be like, no, it's wrong.
What if roles were reversed?
No, like if whites were slaves, right? And like that was the model.
The Jews, like they were.
Well, but like anyone.
Thanks for the pyramid, buddy.
Anyone who ever owned slaves and had to get rid of them was never like, oh fuck, that's awesome. Like they were never like, I'm doing. It's always like, oh god, I kind of just lost my free labor. All I'm saying is slavery is the shit, but it's wrong. Like that's why
Well, it's the shit from one perspective, not the other. Right,
right exactly. It's the side you're on.
Before we get too far on the slavery
before
thing,
we get murdered,
let me
never
say
do a
this.
podcast.
So you just took it to like the simplest form, which is slavery equals bad, right? Like that's a very simple phrase to get everybody behind,
knows,
right? But when you do the ISIS faggot line, right?
Right.
I feel like your argument and your argument when you're like, dude, I'm just looking for the funny. I think what we forget sometimes as comics.
Well, you're a doctor. If you're so good, why don't you cure gay?
Yeah. Remember those old days when we used to, file it as a mental illness?
Yes.
Well, it worked.
So go on. I'm sorry.
But here's the thing.
I can resist that brilliant joke. I will fucking kill you. See that? That slave is coming at me. Love him.
Me as a doctor, us as comics, right? I think we forget sometimes that we're at a level of intelligence where we can compartmentalize. ISIS faggot is funny because we can remove the gut thing that's like, ooh, this is bad.
Right.
Whereas some people, I feel like we sometimes forget, literally don't have the ability to look at that phrase and see anything other than the first thing, which is this doesn't sound right. You know what I mean?
And the only way to fix that, if only there were a doctor here that I could use this. When someone has an illness, do you say, well, let me just walk away from it? I'll put it simply in your terms. When you go for a measles vaccine, I'm curious, what's in the vaccine? Measles.
Yeah.
When you go for a polio vaccine, what's in the vaccine? Polio.
But
When you go for an AIDS vaccine, what do they give you? Dick, Adam. A lot of dick. Dick.
But it's
not that Geno needs my
Geno
needs my help, but I'm gonna and again I'm just taking a side because it's fun,
right?
And I'd like to stir shit, but like listen, when I was younger, me and my brother, my grandfather died. We were literally at the funeral. We were literally at the funeral, and the casket's there. It wasn't open because we're Jewish. But like we're just making horrible jokes, like, oh, what does he smell like? Like things that like people overheard. They'd be like, how fucking dare you?
Right.
And it was disgusting, and it was not respectful, but it was funny. And I think like you could say, oh, that's wrong. But when you go to a comedy club, right, your day is shit, right? You have a fucking horrible job. Your wife sucks. You're sitting down, and someone says something ridiculous, right? You're not thinking like, oh, let me check this. This is morally correct. It's like, no, I just want to laugh. And again, I hear what you're saying, where there are some people who would take offense to that. My issue with that is that,
I'm not saying they're right. I'm just saying you can understand why they would.
But
be
I can't let it go unattended.
You're not going to change your act because of that.
I can't. I'm trying to help all these people, and I will have a discussion all day long.
Well, that's what I was trying to get at. Is I feel like you end up having that discussion, but unfortunately the screenshot only shows the gorilla
But I don't mind that. Yeah. Like if there's no middle ground with, I've always been like this. I always want my act. I don't want a middle ground. I want to stir passion, because what's the opposite of love? What's the opposite of love? Hate. No. The opposite of love is indifference. If you hate someone, you have such strong feelings towards them that you like. That's what people don't get. Right. They're like. That's why you fight with. Like, you'll meet 800 assholes on the street, and if someone walks out, I say this, 1%. If someone walks out of my comedy show, think about this. Like, I've been in comedy. I got up here 18 years ago. Me and Berg were talking about this a couple weeks ago. We do shows.
How
right?
old are you, by the way?
Turned 50 in December.
No shit.
Yeah.
They say like black don't crack, but you look great,
dude.
Italians, man.
Because I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm waiting for someone to walk into a room any day and go like, you can't do this anymore. You wake up every day. You tell dick jokes with Aaron Berg. I write a sports sheet at night. I hang out with my friends and family. It's like
wait a minute, you're 50?
I'm 50.
So you got to come get a colonoscopy.
We got to get Kate back in here. We had Kate Meany in here. She likes the 50-year-olds, man.
Oh, get her back.
Yeah.
Anyone with daddy issues, I'm in.
Do you have money? All right, that's a no.
I have money. You mean you ever see Midnight Run? No, I'm old. I have money. I don't have money.
I mean, but you don't have like, younger girl impressive money.
No, I do not have.
You don't have Anthony Cumia money.
I do not have young girl impressive money. Wait, what were we just talking about that I went off kilter?
Talking about comedy being offensive.
Oh, yeah. So I've been up here like 18 years.
Indifference.
Yeah. So a couple of weeks ago, me and Berg are talking, right? And this is how far comedy has changed.
Yeah.
Like I did a show at Catch a Rising Star Princeton. Quit bragging. And during the Friday show, like there's a woman getting mad, and she gets offended and she calls the next day and complains, right? And the guy doesn't care because everyone else likes it. And you want to affect people one way or the other. And I'm talking to Berg about it, and he's like, "Yeah, I had someone on Sunday night get up and walk out." And 10 years ago, like this is how much comedy changed. 10 years ago, if that happened, you'd be like, "Wow, what am I doing wrong?" You'd be like, "I got to fucking work on that bit." Now it's a badge of honor. It's like, yeah, I got someone to walk out too. I fucking, and that's. Right. I don't want this vanilla bullshit act that you're seeing. The word you used is perfect. Everything's compartmentalized. People think Comedy Central wants people to think comedy is a sanitized thing that's a white guy, a black guy, a female, a wild card, some kind of Mexican, some kind of retard. No offense, Adam. They want all this.
Well, here's the thing.
And it's not. Comedy is you either laugh or you don't. And my favorite is when, like, I do a joke about the Holocaust, and I say, turns out millions of Jews escaped during the Holocaust into the atmosphere. And when people get that, they're like, oh my God, why am I laughing? I'm like, because you can't help it. And if someone screams, I didn't laugh at that because the Holocaust was bad, it's like, get the fuck out. Don't ever insult me again. Right. Don't you dare tell me, killing 5.5 million Jews, some say 6 million, they're optimists, killing that many. Don't tell me that's a terrible thing. I know. But we have to make fun of how stupid we were. Yeah, but have to.
As an art, 100%, like I get what you're saying. This is where I'm going to dip back. I think as a comedy is a business, though, right? So when comedy clubs are booking, they're going to be like, all right, this guy, I don't know, he's going to offend some people. They're looking at more like, all right, we're not making money. And Comedy Central, that's a fucking corporation right there. So that's Viacom. They're going to be like, listen, we're not going to have someone on. Like, do you think they're going to have Nick DiPaolo on? Like,
no.
Like, and they should, but because why not have more voices on? Because I think that if it's funny, it's funny. But they're looking at what are our general audience's views or what we think their views are. And how are we going to make the bottom line? And if we're offending the people who are watching...
But that's why...
people are idiots. Most people are fucking idiots.
But that's why I feel bad for young kids these days.
Right.
Because that's the business you're trying to get into. Fine. Like, I'm lucky. I didn't go home I got up here in 2001, and, I tried to play that game. And it wasn't like one day I went home and got to my apartment and said, that's it, I'm done. I'm only going to do my stuff, and that's that. No, I'm just like, I tried to do that, and I'm like, I can't. I'm like, I'm just going to do my stuff and see where it gets me. And luckily, the business fragmented, shattered so much, you don't need Comedy Central. Right. You need to have a voice you believe in and get your following. I released my album, Uncle Geno is Amazing. It's on Spotify. If you're listening on Spotify, Google it right now.
Google it, guys.
Well, you don't Google it. You just search it on Spotify.
Right. Spotify it.
And when it came out, because everything's, I was plugging it and all our fans, it debuted when it came out, number 7 on Billboard's spoken word, okay, and comedy spoken word, which is amazing. Right. Now, the next week, it had vanished into the ether, never to be seen again. Right. But that's the nature of the business now. You get a following, and they will buy your stuff. That's why Patreon works. That's why me and Berg are on Compound Media behind a paywall. But I don't care. Like they're like, wouldn't you rather be free? I'm like, free, pay, whatever. We will find our fans, and sometimes I like it better being behind a paywall. Because it's like a cover charge, and there's no way you can have free speech without that cover charge. Right. You can't. But you cannot.
Finding your audience also means that you have a fan base now. So they're on board with the things you're saying because they know your comedy, they know your style, and I think Aaron Berg also has that fan base.
He's incredible.
Right. And the people who see him, or at least I hope, know what they're in for. If not, they're holy shit.
Yeah. But that's just it. If someone leaves, I'm like goodbye.
Right.
It's like you don't get it. We don't want. And I'm not gonna get. I used to get mad. It's like I can't get mad at you. Believe me, I feel bad for them. It's a passive aggressive dick move, but it's like, oh, that poor son of a bitch.
That's what I was getting at earlier. Is like you feel bad for them in terms of like, don't you wish that they could get it? Do you ever wonder, hey, I wish maybe if instead of ISIS faggot, I said a different thing that maybe equally as funny, but still was able to captivate that person that just looked at those.
Homosexual is. I think
No. I get what you're saying, but no, you go for the extreme. Like, did you ever say, you know what I should do with this joke? Make it a little less funny. I should soften it up.
Well,
which
no,
is
I'm
the
saying,
shit
could you
say.
find a way? Could you challenge yourself potentially? Be like, you know what? ISIS fag is funny, but maybe I could come up with something that's equally as funny. That's less. You don't think
There's
so?
nothing funnier than that because there isn't. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Trust me. I rewrite stuff all the time. And I say this. There's times I go on
Where
stage.
was that on the list of like other alternatives? You're like,
Yeah.
all right, it's like 40th on the like Eureka. We
There's
found it.
times John Fish, brilliant comedian. He's on one of the 800 shit talk shows, but he's brilliant. And he did his joke and they watered it down. He did
Find him there, guys. On
He
the
did it-
talk shows.
John Fish. Oh, he's fucking hysterical. But he has a joke. He's like, he talks about his therapist. He's like, he told my, he's like, the joke that he does, they change it to, I'll tell him the original joke because it's great. It's like I was talking to my girlfriend and I talked to my therapist and he's like, you can't call her bad names. You have to say how she's making you feel. And he's like, we got no fun. He's like, and I'm butchering this. It's still going to be funny. He's like, it's like the way you're talking to me, you're making me feel like I want to call you a cunt. Which is
great. That's
now, let me ask you, they really worked on it, Doc. Really worked on it to make it funnier. And by funnier, I mean more acceptable to fucking snowflake pussy twats. Stop talking. And it became, you're making me feel like I want you to tell you to shut up. Every time you look at a woman, you want to say, shut up.
Yeah.
But that's what, so sometimes, don't misunderstand. There's always ways to make jokes better. But when you nail it, for you to backpedal for someone else, you don't want that.
Oh, I'm not telling you to
No,
backpedal. I'm just saying,
trying to, right, no.
I'm on your side.
I just want to see you guys fight because this is great.
No, but I love the question. These are great questions.
I'm just playing devil's advocate.
And
I'm
you're-
just like, is there a way
Right,
to,
but
not be angered by that and maybe work around it? You know?
But
what I
yeah,
mean?
but at this point, you can't
You don't
make
think
it.
so?
You can't make. I think it's without. You cannot make everyone happy.
I mean, I'm asking you because you've been doing this. You said
Right,
18
well,
years.
that's
So
what I was
like,
gonna get at,
if
'cause it
anyone
could-
can figure it out, it's you.
No,
So-
one, thank you. Two, no, I can't figure it out.
You know, it
It's what
could
I
be
said,
the
it's-
optimism of somebody who's starting off. That's like, I want to, because that's what the stage I'm at. Like, I'm the stage. I've been doing this for a year. I'm doing open mics and whatnot. I'm not at the stage where I'm like, I want to please everybody,
You can't,
and you can't.
and you're gonna fuck yourself
right.
up.
And it's like the less I'm myself on stage, the more genuine it feels. Like the more genuine I am, even if I get less laughs, at least I'm genuine.
yeah.
And again, like I forgot who said it, but someone's like, you obviously find the funny to offensive ratio. Like you don't want to go off being like hurting people's feelings just to do it. Like you're not like, hey, fuck you, asshole. But like you're definitely trying to find what's funny in the offensiveness, right? So that's clearly like the agenda. But for me, it's like, all right, being likable is not the key because people are going to shit on you either way. They're looking for you to fail.
You have
on
to
the
like
stage.
yourself. I'm
Oh,
not
yeah.
trying to sound like some Hallmark
Yeah,
card.
that was beautiful.
But you have to. And I've said this, and I learned the
My
hard
mom
way.
says that.
When I first, like you do these auditions, and you do these, and you're like, let me do this, let me tweak this joke so they like it. And now it's not you. You're doing something for them.
Right.
And the only thing worse than you sucking doing something for them is you succeeding doing something for them because now you're a fucking puppet, Amy Schumer, and you have to be this person that they want you to fucking be. And then you get to the end of the rope next and you're like, I'll do the whole thing in leather. It'll be my leather special. Ugh.
Did you ever meet Amy Schumer?
Yeah, she's actually, we were friends for a while. I haven't seen her in
She's
ages.
pretty cool. I met her years ago before when she just started getting famous. And she kind of like she was like talking to my brother and we met at Bond Street Sushi. She was actually really cool. And that story's going nowhere. But
a lot of times
I want
you
to
get
honestly,
sucked in.
I realize that I'm on a podcast and I can't lie. I wanted to lie and be like, I fucked her and my
Right.
brother fucked her.
Do it.
But someone's gonna listen to this and be like, that never happened. I can't lie on a podcast. I have to tell the truth.
But that's
this
just
this
it.
is so different than going out on dates.
Even someone like Amy Schumer, like it's not their fault.
Yeah.
You get sucked in. Amy Schumer, like we would have all done it, in my opinion. Okay, Amy Schumer's like this young, cute chick who's funny. She's got jokes.
Yeah.
But it's like someone that gets pulled out of the single A baseball and put right up in the majors. Like you're perfect right now. You've got that cute. I'm fuck. Any guy could kind of think they have a chance with me. Look,
Right.
you're just funny enough. You're
Right.
cute. So they do, and they bring her up, and there's no way she's gonna be like, I really need to work on my set more. I really
Right.
no. So now you're up. You're in the
Yeah.
majors, and you put out your first album. You're like, now what? Well, now I'll just have some parallel thinking with some really funny skit. You can't.
Right.
It's not their fault. It's not Nanette's fault. It's fucking Goodwill Hunting. It's not your fault. It's not your fault.
That's
This
not-
industry is a monster, and it's got to churn out fucking safe, palatable shit comedy for all the people in the Midwest going like, oh, that's very...
But here's the thing: if you want to make money, like
Actually, who am I kidding? L.A. and New York are the ones. Oh, that's
I was gonna say because I do comedy out in Iowa, so I work.
And they
out
love
in Iowa,
everything, right?
And I just live in New York doing the comedy.
Iowa now who's bragging. I was talking about Jersey.
But out in Iowa, I remember because that's where I actually started comedy back in November. I've only been doing this since November. Went to my first open mic, and I'm trying certain jokes that are getting laughs.
Right.
And then I bring them back here, and no laughs. I'm like, what is going on here? Like, this is...
It's
Oh, no,
rough,
you're
yeah.
right. When I first started, I'm like, oh, I was doing the Cellar. I'm like, oh, thank God I'm doing these New York crowds. Fuck New York crowds. Like, I do, and people make fun, like, I do LOL. I used to do this shithole. You don't want fucking New York crowds. You want fucking a cross section of America because that's what you're playing to, you know?
But don't you feel like people like the Cellar?
I don't,
it's a
I
lot
should
of,
say.
Cellar has a lot of tourists though. Like I feel like when I'm there, those aren't native New Yorkers, or are they?
I don't know. I haven't
Yeah.
done it in fucking 5 years. I don't know.
I've been to the Cellar a handful of times,
Yeah.
just because again I'm new and I'm just trying to like consume as much comedy as possible. So every time
Yeah.
I've been to the Cellar, the front row is consistently out of town Canadian,
Yeah.
something, you know.
They bark them in from Ellis Island. I feel like.
right. But I feel like there at least it's fun to watch people. You know, every now and then you will have an edgy comic. It's fun to watch people actually laugh at that. But you could tell the New Yorkers with their arms folded.
Let me tell you,
or
the
college
Cellar
girls.
is still the place to see some of the greatest comedians.
Oh,
like
for
you got
sure,
these
for
young
sure.
kids but Attell is the funniest.
Oh,
I'm
my God,
sorry.
it's great.
I'm
Oh, my
sorry,
God.
the funniest. Period.
Yeah.
I love Louis C.K. You know he's great, and everyone seems to.
Yeah.
But Dave Attell is. I could listen to.
I love his
Skanks-
dating tips.
Oh, I could listen to Skanks of the Memories front to back 10,000 times and laugh just as hard the
Actually-
10,000th time he goes, "Them titties ain't retarded."
Oh, yeah.
That's
Those
great.
titties ain't slow, right? Actually, that reminded me
I'm laughing at it again.
when you were talking about the indifference line
Right.
and the dating tips line. That reminded me of actually Patrice when he would say the same
Yeah,
thing
yeah.
because he would be like, "If my girl gets mad at somebody, then I'm concerned. It's not
Right.
when she's indifferent; it's when
Yeah.
she gets mad because
Right.
that's the
That's brilliant,
same, you know."
That's what it is.
Yeah.
If like that's the thing. It's like when people are like, oh, you know, they talk about hitting. It's like it's hitting a woman. That's hard not to do because you care. It's like I would never. You don't hit women. You don't hit them hard. They black out and lose the lesson.
so that's where
but
you and
what
I
people
differ?
don't
Okay.
get, people don't get like, oh, how could you do it? Like, because it's fucking nuts.
Right.
But that's what people don't get. You want people to hate you because it's that Nietzschean thing. You know, you want to impose your will, your soul upon theirs. And when you do that, they can't like you meet 800 assholes on the street
Yeah.
and you're like, what a douche.
Well,
you see guys on the subway, you're like, oh, no.
But here's the thing. So I'm not a huge drinker,
Trend
but
on.
when I go out drinking, it's for the purpose of picking up girls.
What's better than alcohol, Adam? Segregation. Very good. It's so dumb.
Gino, I'm talking
It's so dumb. My act is so dumb.
I like it. Though.
It's so stupid,
Oh,
though.
good.
My 7-year-old nephew one time would go to my. This is still one of the greatest moments in my life because my 7-year. He's 15 now, but when he was 7, I would be telling dumb jokes, and he would say to my brother, his dad, "Let me explain the joke, Dad. You don't need to explain the joke. Nick. It's really clever what he did there. I get it, Nick. He called Mom a whore. I get it, Nick. That's my.
I want to
entire
change gears
act.
and talk about pussy.
Yeah,
So
please.
so my what I was basically saying is when I drink, it's for the purpose of
I
getting.
say this is good beer, but it's because I'm hanging out with you guys.
Yeah.
To this day, I know I sound like a 50-year. Well, I am 50, but it's like sometimes beer just tastes better when you're just hanging out with
people,
dudes,
right?
You know. Anyway, go on.
Or when you're ready to fuck somebody.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
You're just like, this is great.
Maybe it's both, you handsome motherfucker.
Listen,
Shut up, Adam.
Just know that I am the top. That's all you got to know. I will top the shit out of Gino for the story. Yeah, for the story.
Adam's like, I wish he did forget my name.
Yeah,
again.
I was gonna say.
We were just saying.
I liked it a lot better before you remembered.
We're hanging
me.
out, buddy. Back to you. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's great. I love how you didn't know Adam before, and now you guys have a history. It's like, hey, remember when we
Well, no,
fucked?
that's
And
because I know him, and I'm like, looking, I'm like, what's your name? Because like, it drives me nuts.
but
I'm
that's
so
not knowing
bad with
somebody.
names.
Knowing somebody is knowing their name.
No, it's for me. It's not that. It's like I know this guy, and I forgot his fucking name.
I mean, you did call me Kevin when you walked in
Yeah.
here.
Hey, Kev.
But anyway, so when you go out drinking,
I hate everyone here.
yeah,
What?
no, when you go out drinking, like you're one of these guys because like you're 50 now, and which I don't like. Tom Cruise is what fucking 70, and he looks like he's 2.
Yeah, he
So-
sleeps with baby blood or
right.
something. I don't know.
So I guess my question is, when you go out, like, are you picking up girls? I don't know if you're like with somebody or whatnot, but like,
No, like when when I go out drinking now, and I'm realizing this gets back into the sleep cycle I was talking about. And it's like at night I don't drink that much anymore because in more of someone's gonna walk in and say you can't do this anymore. Another gig I lucked into is I write a sports sheet 5 nights a week. So what I basically do 5 nights a week, I take 10 to 12 sports stories.
Yeah.
shrink them into like a 3/4 of a page, put in a dick joke, upload it, and people all over like terrestrial radio, because terrestrial radio is in the shitter, and they pay the kids nothing, and they hire them out of like a technical institute. They have no personality, but they can work the board, so they read my stuff. So 5 nights a week, I'm sitting at home, baseball season. I'm sorry, I love baseball. I do. I know people say it's boring, but let me tell you something.
Mets, Yankees, what?
Phillies. I'm from Philly.
Oh,
look,
shit,
I love football, but what do you think would be more fun? The 4 of us in the middle of fucking January, go sit in a rainstorm and watch the Giants and Jets play.
Yeah.
Or let's say it's fucking the middle of fucking June. The 4 of us are sitting in left field at Citi Field watching the Mets Phillies, having a fucking IPA, just talking bullshit. Like, there's nothing better than baseball. So this is me at night. I'm on the couch.
So I'm going to play devil's advocate
Please,
again.
it's what we do.
Yeah.
You do.
I feel like you just disproved yourself, because you start out by saying this is the greatest sport because, but then your reason was the most non-sports thing to do.
No, but
right?
while... Fair enough. I just cut it
your
short.
sales pitch was a picnic. You know what I mean?
It is a picnic, but the beauty of baseball is it engenders, if that's the right word, their conversation. Like, because with baseball, football happens like that.
Yeah.
Basketball, boom, same thing. And I love watching them. But with baseball, I'm sitting there like, all right, they got this guy up. Why don't they pitch around him? You got the pitcher that's like 2 batters down. You want to. There's so much to talk about.
Right,
you know,
right.
Look at the tits on that guy in seat 7. You could talk about it all day. You know, and the beauty of it is getting all the way back full circle. Look at this. It looks like. It's discussion. It's intelligent conversation. And I hate people that just think talking louder makes them right when you never want to be right. You always, if you're right, you didn't learn anything. So you just go back and forth with conversation.
But that's being an adult, because I'm
out for that.
No, but I'm 33, and like anything I do that's like
33
not
so old. It's over at 33.
Yeah. No,
Kicks in again at 49.
But here's
That's
the-
when you
well,
fuck the girl with daddy
well,
issues. Nobody with daddy issues wants to fuck a 33-year-old.
Well, hold up. So here's the thing. I want to get your opinion on this. We were talking about it briefly. So I you know, and I'm not being braggadocious here, but I fuck a lot of 19 and 18-year-olds. Yeah. I'm not being braggadocious. Not being braggadocious.
You're not being. Does braggadocious mean being my hero? Does it?
So, and if you want, I can introduce you to some.
Please.
No. So the thing is like, you know, for me, like the goal of going out, like now, it's like I'm still not motivated. Like if I go out to drink, it's a mission. Like
right,
I'm not.
it better end with your dick in a chick.
Like if I'm gonna put this in my body and it's a carb.
Well, yeah, because you're this fitness nutcake. Yeah.
Right, but even that, like I don't understand the idea of even getting loose and feeling like woo, like without a chick in front of you. Like that's the thing. Like for me, even like on stage, like people are like, oh, you should drink before you go on because the looseness. Like, nah, fuck that. Like
No.
I want to be me. But when it comes to being in front of a girl, it's like the anxiety that goes into knowing that, like, all right, I have to play this and that to get in her pants. Like,
So what you're saying is you can't stand them sober.
Right. No,
You're saying there's all strategy to it?
because if you're drinking, they're drinking, and if they're drinking, it's easier to get the clothes off.
Right.
And the ultimate goal, I think, is to basically for both of you is that you want to get to a place where you're comfortable to fuck, or at least be intimate, right?
Backseat of a Sonic.
Exactly, right.
Did I say that or think that? Not
Done that.
Yes.
Wait, but doesn't that bring up a lot of regret afterwards? Do you experience a lot of regret afterwards?
Oh, 100%. But I'm saying, like, that's the only time I'll drink, though. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's like for me, it's for a mission.
You're this whole fitness thing, so you have to make it count.
But what's the point of, like, so maybe I'm just understanding. What's the point of, like, what do you get out of drinking from not, and it's not puss. Like, it's not like.
Because half the time I fall ass backwards into fucking puss. I do. Like, I don't know how. Like, I've never been, my fucking puss game is like my comedy game. It's like I'm not good at saying I'm going from point A to point B, and this is how I'm going to do it. I'm like, this is me at point A. Let's fucking enjoy it. And then suddenly I'm at point B, and by that I mean vagina.
I like
you know
that
what
attitude.
I'm talking about.
That's a great attitude to
Point
have.
V, thank you.
We were
Now
actually-
Adam's funny.
Me and
Where was
you were
that the
talking about
passport?
that,
Yeah.
Before, I was like, yo, just have the right attitude. If it happens, it happens. But if
Right.
it doesn't. I like that attitude. That's.
Oh, do you use
But,
the comedy?
but again, this isn't me like, hey, take it from me. It's like, it's the only way I know how to do the game.
Yeah.
It's the only, like, the last chick I friggin', honest God, we're drinking. And this is when I drink now, I'm realizing. That was my point of that whole thing. At night, I'm not drinking. I'm sitting working on the sheet, just relaxing, doing spots.
How old was she? Just so I have an idea.
26.
26.
And
okay.
I'm 50. That's a 24-year
That's
difference.
huge. That's great.
Oh, that's for me, please. I had to go to the doctor. I had a mark on my shoulder, but it was just from me patting
The
myself
goal,
on the back.
the goal should be that she was too young to see 9/11. Like, if she didn't know if she never saw the Twin Towers, like, then.
But that literally came about from we were doing a show at the thing, and she was on the show after. We were drinking across the street because that's when we drink now. I know that's another reason people are like, he must be a drunk. Well, yeah, because I get up at 8, And the second I wake up at 8, all I want to do is go back to sleep. And then you do a show for an hour, and the last thing you're going to do is want to go back because you're wired. So then we go across the street. So I'm drinking at 10, 11 in the morning.
Oh,
that's
shit.
my nighttime social.
I was gonna say
that's my
your work day is over.
Yes.
There's no hot girls.
Yeah. So then I'm drinking with this chicken again, not paying attention, and I leave, and she leaves separate times. The next day, I hang out. My buddy's like, "So you took that chick?" I'm like, "No, why?" He's like, "That chick was all over you." And I'm like, "Really?" And then he just picks up her Instagram page, and there's 3 pictures she put on it of us.
Whoa.
So like a week later, I'm like, "Hey, you want to go out for drinks?" And boom. But I hope there's nowhere in that story you think I'm saying, so here's what I do with the second step of action plan, Geno. It's like, hey, you look dumb enough to fuck me.
No, but
Let's get you drunk again and seal it, bitch.
You definitely use your skill, which is comedy. Here's the thing. My goal is to take a 50-year-old out and really show him how to, like, because here's the thing. Like, you don't even realize. Like,
I don't realize.
You're not a bad-looking dude. I'm
a good-looking.
You're not a bad-looking dude.
I'm not a bad-looking dude. I'm not.
You look like you're younger than you are.
Yeah.
I
could go for 45.
You can even do late
I would
30s,
not have
man.
guessed 50.
Yeah, I could do late 30s.
I got a brother who's 40. You look like my brother.
Yeah.
So like that's
Brother's a handsome son of a bitch with low self-esteem.
Yeah. So but and you're funny. So like I just feel like you could score. And I know you probably do, but you could score younger and better than you probably are.
But I'm doing like I'm right now. I'm in the late 20s. I'm in a streak of late 20s. The last 3. Oh, please, that's record pace. That's record pace. That's great stuff.
When you can't understand their references, like that's the best.
Oh, they're like, why would you do that? I'm like, because obviously, I don't want to be in a relationship.
Yeah.
You know, it's like it doesn't take Freud to fucking figure that out.
Right.
You know.
So do you do you make that clear going in? Do you feel like that's kind of your what makes you attractive to these women? Like what's
I don't know. I don't say anything. I think it's understood. You know, I think like when you get into this whole relationship, like the games they play, like where is this going? That never comes into play when you're
really. It's never been asked.
No, and they're usually like, and I never used to bang comedians, never. But now it's like all like comedian or radio people.
They're there. That's it.
They're there. It's
office hot. They call
it's
it.
the orbit I'm in right now. You
Right.
know what I mean? So it's not complaining.
But isn't it weird? Like I feel like that's what it is. Like a lot of open mic comedians, like I start looking like, oh, she's kind of cute. But then you take her outside to the real world. It's like, oh, she was cute in a sea of disgusting men comedians.
And don't you feel like sometimes you're like, you just like, I got to bang her tonight because if I string this out to 2 dates, then I'm going to talk to her sober
Right.
and she's going to talk me out of this. And I really want to bang that, but she's going to, and don't get me wrong, I'm sure there's also the chance I will talk them out of it. You know what I mean? I mean, who we kidding Adam? This sweet talk to him, all right? Don't unbutton that. Don't unbutton that.
Just feel like
Theater of the mind,
are
everyone.
female comedians silly up until the point where they have your dick in their hand? Like just like, hey, look at this. They're just banging it on their head.
No, not the last 2, but yeah. Actually,
or is it like a competition? Like who's giving? Like because I feel like sometimes comedians don't know what to shut the fuck up. It's like, all right, you're not on stage, just like have a conversation. And I think they're always like, I have comedian friends, and a lot of them are just getting into it. And it's like, dude, get the fuck out of comedian mode. Like, don't stop trying to one up me every second.
Right.
Like we're talking about like sports. Like I don't need you to be like, hey, that's what she said. It's like, all right, shut up.
yeah.
But I feel like female comedians, if you're dating them, it's like every second trying to one up each other.
I don't think they're all like that.
Okay.
And I think you have to keep them separated, otherwise, you know, they spoil. I don't know, fucking know. I don't know. It's like the McDLT. You have to keep the hot side. I don't know. But no, I've never had that. But then again, I love this podcast because it's making it sound like I just walk out and my dick is dripping with 26-year-old pussy. It's dripping. Well, if that's what you call chlamydia. Yeah, it's dripping with it.
Well, let's talk about it because we are a medical podcast.
Yeah, we could switch.
Have you
gears.
ever had
Why
an
not?
STD?
No. I had maybe, but no.
Come on.
I might have chlamydia once and I just took a shit ton of amoxicillin.
Oh, really? Is that how you cure it?
You only need one thing of azithromycin. Done.
Oh, then maybe that's what it was. Maybe that's what it was. Because a buddy of mine, she's a nurse practitioner in Delaware. I mean, a friend of a friend. And she might have given it to my friend because his dick was like 900 degrees every time he jerked off. Hypothetically speaking, is that weird? I don't know why the guy told me that. It was like it was happening to me in 2006. Weird. What?
Wait, so what's the STD where they give you the shot?
That's gonorrhea.
I had that, yeah.
So you got to get a
Now everyone knows that.
mucosal injection or intramuscular injection of a different antibiotic.
Yeah,
But
so
chlamydia is easy, just a couple
I
pills.
don't think I
and
ever
that's
had chlamydia. I had gonorrhea, which was fun.
Chlamydia is when everything is boiling hot in your penis, right?
Honestly, they typically travel together. So usually, if you have gonorrhea, they'll treat you for both
Yeah,
because
my
it's
pee was
so
hurting.
common
My pee
to
was
have
hurting,
both.
Okay.
So that's the only STDs you've ever had.
Yeah.
Did you get the test done where they stick the metal
Cute-
swab up
Oh,
your
my
cock?
pee hole. I had that.
No!
I had to
My
do
life-
that to a guy in the ER.
Oh, my-
Why?
My life flashed before my eyes.
Stop it!
Yeah.
Luckily, they don't do that anymore. It's just a piss test.
Yeah.
but,
This poor nurse, the things I said to her,
Happy place.
it literally reminded me of like something about Mary when they zip the zipper over the balls and the penis.
Yeah, something about Mary. I thought you said when I got married. I'm like, what? The
No, I never got married.
I
No.
skipped a step.
Something about Mary. Yeah, so dude, it was fucking painful. And they were like, yeah, you have a gonorrhea. I was like, oh, perfect. What do I do? Like, we're gonna stick a shot in your ass. And then it goes away and it's over. But so no STDs for the Geno Bisconte.
Not really.
What any kind of illnesses you had? I want to talk about some fucked up shit.
Actually,
When I
before
was-
the illnesses, let me ask you.
Oh, please.
You mentioned age 50. Have you gotten your colonoscopy yet?
No.
We're doing that right now. Turn
Told me
around.
twice
That's why
now.
we invited you.
Here's the thing, no, you want to talk? I just, for the first time in about 20 years, like 3 months ago, I got health care because here's why. Because I'm an old Italian man, like everyone in my family, and as my aunt and uncle would say, why would you go to a doctor? They can only tell you you're sick. And I also believe if you're like, and I say this in my act, and this is another reason I'm so adamant, so passionate about like laughter and how anyone that fucking, it's a fact. Laughter is the best medicine, but it's a fact that laughing, and I know I'm telling you this, but I want you to
This should be the fucking tagline for a show. Jesus.
laughter releases endorphins. It's a healing thing.
Yep.
It's a fact that stress is what causes heart disease, is what kills you. And I'm not telling this because I know you know it, but it's like, and I just believe, like, I feel like if you're on the right path, like I am, like I will be healthy because I'm laughing all the time. I'm happy all the time. But I also, and then I was going to get healthcare like 6-7 years ago, and I started having panic attacks. Like I'm like, and I know this is ridiculous, but I'm like, I feel like I'm breaking my pact with the universe, and I feel like if I get healthcare, I'll need healthcare. But then I was okay with this last time because like I have a real job now, and I'm like, this is part of the plan now. Now it's time to be responsible. But the last time I was really sick, knock wood, I had pneumonia when I was in first grade, like 74, double pneumonia. And that's like 1974. Like it was a different disease back then. Like I think I missed half of first grade. They thought I was gonna die or something. But that
People do die of pneumonia.
yeah. But that's the last time I was really, God forbid, sick. I mean, other than
But you're not like because like Jews in my family, like we're all very like neurotic. We always think we have something. Are you like that at all?
No,
You're the
because
opposite.
my brother's like that, but I'm not. Like we're the old school Italians. Like, look, I'm fine. When it gets me, it gets me. I'm having a great run. But this is the one thing that's concerned me a lot. Like this is a great medical question. So we started doing the show back in. I have a stutter too, but that's a thing. We started doing the show.
Can't help you there. Yeah.
Right.
Fuck you, God forbid. We started doing the show back in July, and then December, like it started. Like I lose my voice sometimes for like
Really?
days at a time. Like
It's because you're so quiet, really.
yeah, so do myself. And second the show's over, I just hush right up.
Right.
So someone's like, maybe you have nodes on your thing. Like, is that like, what do you do if you're chronically losing your voice?
I mean, it depends on what it is. Cliche answer.
Right.
But actually, I don't know if you're a big John Mayer fan. John Mayer had like a vocal cord issue, like he had a little growth happen. So, you get growths. Sometimes, actually, the majority of what I see as a GI doctor is people coming in with sore throats, hoarseness.
Yeah.
And it turns out to be actually uncontrolled reflux. So you get heartburn, you get reflux. And a lot of times, patients will come in who have what we call silent reflux. You don't get the classic heartburn. You don't get the classic what is this burning?
Right.
But you come in with all the after effects, all the other side symptoms, hoarseness, chronic cough. They worked me up for pneumonia. They worked me up for allergies. They worked me up for nasal ish, and nothing's coming up. What is it? So a lot of times it's silent reflux. That's just
So what do you tell them? Like take Tagamet or something?
Tums, Prilosec, Nexium.
I've been doing the Tums.
Zantac.
Zantac.
I've been doing the throat coat with the echinacea and the vitamin C or whatever. That's pretty good.
It works.
If it works, it works.
It works, but yeah, but I'm telling you, like, thank God, like I haven't
Healthy,
been to
huh?
a doctor in ages. I have to go to a dentist. I never had my wisdom teeth out.
Oh, I'm getting them out next week. Fuck.
Oh,
dude.
good, do it. I never had
It's
them
gonna
out,
be
and
painful,
they don't hurt. But now I'm 50, and I just feel like they're starting to just. It's like the end of a concert.
Like
They're like,
knocking.
let's all go forward.
Right.
It's all, and I'm gonna wake up one day and one tooth just gonna be like doink. So it's like I gotta go. And my
If you're
teeth,
gonna get them out, get them all out at the same time. That's
yeah,
right.
yeah. You got, and my teeth, like when I was in high school, like I have the worst teeth. Like, and
Well,
look,
let's see.
well, they're all metal. They're
Are
all.
they?
Oh yeah, like because I believe like I think you can brush your teeth all you want, and if you have like soft enamel, you're fucked. But I think I had soft enamel, and I was fucked because I didn't floss, and they just
Eat a lot of candy.
no, I don't really have a sweet
Genetic.
tooth.
I think it's genetic, honestly.
I think it's everything, but
Yeah.
my teeth just but I eat a lot of carbs, and that's all sugar anyway.
sugar, yeah.
I love how I'm telling you stuff. I tell you, Doc, it's all sugar.
But hold on,
me.
you eat. So this is you on a lot of carbs. So this is the biggest you're gonna. You're not on a diet right now.
No,
So that's like genetic.
I
too.
did a juice cleanse. That's what we need to talk about. I did a juice cleanse like a couple
All
weeks.
sugar.
Yeah, I did one, and I didn't do it because like, oh, I want to lose weight. I'm like,
Yeah.
I had 2 weeks off, and I wanted to take a complete break from drinking. So I did for 2 weeks. I know that sounds like, like I ran a marathon. It was actually 12 days, not 2 weeks, but whatever. And I'm like, and the last 3 days off,
Yeah.
I had no gigs planned or anything. I'm like, I'm going to do a 3-day juice cleanse. And I actually stretched it to 4. And the reason I want to do it was, one, just see if I could go that long without eating. And it wasn't that hard because they give you 6 of these, and I found I had trouble drinking juice throughout the day. So I did 4 days, and I didn't feel any lighter, but I felt more. By the first 2 days, I was dying, and the last 2 days, I felt like I was more energetic. Does that make any sense?
So you're ready for the unfortunate news here. So I'll field this one because I'm a trainer.
Oh, please.
And a
Oh,
nutrition.
yeah, please.
And a nutrition coach. So this juice cleanse thing is it's a bit misguided. I think people have to understand that when you're drinking juice, you're drinking all the sugar from all the vegetables and fruits that are being squeezed out, and none of the pulp and fibers that are very good for you. Now,
But I think with these, I did. I think it's one of those ones where they were chia seeds
sure.
and
But
shit.
even so, think about how long
But
it
even
takes.
so, I'm sorry to interrupt. Please.
How fucking dare you? No, think about how long
I'm
it
a
takes.
jerk.
I feel like 3 beers in, I'll literally start fighting somebody.
No.
That would be great if that's how this podcast
Sue
ends.
Costello, she's not dead yet. She needs a doctor. Go out there with the paddles for her act.
So,
I had a sitcom in 1989.
is that who? I don't know who's behind me.
Sue Costello.
Sue Costello. Is that
Would you? On a dare? You would, Doc. Come on. Yeah.
Derek?
Get
Give me
back
another
here.
fucking beer.
Fuck her, call your mom. Why didn't you hug me more?
Do it for the story.
Listen, if it's between her, you,
For the resume.
or Sadra, I would fuck her. Anybody in this room right now?
I'm gonna flip a coin.
This is called comedian hot right now. This is called the office hot. Anyway, so back to what I was saying. So juice. You're basically taking other sugars and carbs and replacing them with the food that you're. So I don't see the benefit is this. Calorically, you're getting less calories. So when you have a caloric deficit, you're losing weight. In terms of what your body's going to look like, it's not going to be great because your insulin sensitivity, you're using all this sugar, you're overloading your pancreas with all this sugar.
But the another, and that makes sense. And
Yeah, okay.
I was in no way doing, like, it wasn't like, why didn't I lose? I wasn't doing it for that. But the other thing I heard was it's good to do because when you digest food, like it takes energy because it takes energy and blood and all that stuff to digest food. So it also gives your body a break and resets it like that. And I've heard both things. I've heard it's stupid. But
And
what
I'll
are your
throw in
thoughts?
an additional thought.
Please.
If all else fails, if all this is horseshit, don't forget placebo effect is a very powerful thing.
Oh, and I
So-
firmly believe that.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
It's like I wake up. That's the other thing. That was part of the pact. I realized this years ago, and I wake up every day. Like, some people can just manifest shit, and I believe it. Like some people just know how to make fucking money. James Altucher, the guy that works at Sandham, and he's written, but he's a guy that's been.
Oh, curly hair.
Yeah, he loses fucking money like I lose sunglasses. Like it's not like, oh, what am I gonna do? It's like he loses $1 million. He loses millionaire status. It's like, I'll just do it a different time, And some people are good at that. I'm not, but I wake up every day and it's this placebo. It's fucking, you can't, expecting to be healthy and expecting to be happy. And I got to tell you, my streak is on fire. Every fucking day I wake up like that. Every day. Like that's one of the greatest compliments my ex gave me. They'll never find her body. But she said, they're going to look. But she said, she's like, and she had a real job.
Yeah.
And she's like, I'll tell you, no matter what time I wake you up, you're never in a bad mood. Like she'll wake me up at 5 a.m. just because she was mad. She's like, wake up. I'm like, what are we doing? What are we doing now? We going somewhere? Darren Kane. I feel like I'm in a glass cube.
It's
Is
like
this the day
heaven.
we start the juice cleanse?
This is probably what heaven's gonna be like for you. Oh, look at these comedians that I started with. And
Kevin, you're such an optimist. Jordan, I mean Kevin.
listen, I think this. I think that you're on the right track. I think you're thinking, you're thinking with a healthy mindset. Like even if it's not what I would do, who gives a shit? Like
Right.
it's a start, right? Also, I just think genetically, like I'm just visually looking at you, like that's not fucking bad for someone who's like.
No, I have a good metabolism. I know that's, but like if I work out for like 2 months, and I don't mean like you do, God forbid. That's the other problem I have. Like when I walk out of compound media every day, I can go 50 feet right to Planet Fitness, 50 feet left to Sullivan's. That Sullivan's place is very.
Well,
but
you also
if
do a
I get
show-
on the
you do-
machine
you do
for
a
an
show
hour,
with
I'm
a-
great. You know, and that's not working out. That's just not eating and drinking for an hour.
But you do a show with a bodybuilder. Like you essentially like Aaron Berg. I mean, I'm sure he's not what he was back in his prime, but he's still a big motherfucker.
He's a big motherfucker.
And like that dude, you know, he's got knowledge. I mean, listen, I would like to sit and pick his fucking brain because, you know,
It moves at a ridiculous speed. He's the quickest comic I fucking, and I think I'm pretty quick. He's fucking fast.
He's
like that's the beauty of our show. I'm sorry to interrupt, but we don't even know what we're doing, but we have something where the way we play off each other, like I'm actually the straight man in it, and but it's like people will come to our to the show and they'll sit in the studio and they'll get done, and look, it's like you don't think you're doing it, but they'll look like, wow, that is, how do you guys do it? How long do you rehearse? Like rehearse?
Right.
Yeah, that's what we did. We laughed like rehearse. Oh, we had a writing meeting an hour and no.
Well, it was a funny thing that me and Saj were talking about because we just started this podcast, and I was like telling him like I think we should like talk about more prep and like editing. He's like, dude, let's just fucking sit down and talk.
Yeah.
Which is like, it's good to hear that because I think that is the best way to do it. But it's also nerve wracking because you're like, what if this comes out like that? But who gives a fuck?
No,
like,
because it makes it real.
It makes it real.
And the more, like I've had this conversation with that kid Kevin that was Dombrowski, great comedian, but he's the opposite of me. He like plans. He's like, and there's times I'll tell him like, and it's I used to think it was lazy just working on your act on stage, but there's no replacement for getting the reps. And I've said to him like, you're trying to be funny now when you can't be, the joke can't be funny on stage till the joke is on stage. And sometimes, you know, it's the same thing with this rehearsal. You're so busy looking at the tunnel vision, like I have to get there. This is what we talked about. That you're not paying attention to anything fucking around you.
Right, true.
You know, and it's amazing how like just work on the joke. Like I have a joke, it's on the album, which you guys are listening to on Spotify. Uncle Geno is amazing. And I never knew how to like this one bit, but it was just there when I wasn't paying attention. Like my nephew, I tell this joke, but the line that came out of nowhere is like, I told him a joke when he was in third grade, blah, blah, and so now it's 3 years later, and I'm 19, I'm like, he's still in third grade, the little retard, and it kills. And I didn't write it. It's a scene from fucking Seinfeld Comedian, the DVD, that it was on it's an outtake scene, or a deleted scene, an outtake scene, and I don't know why, but he's like, there are some jokes. He's like, that like you sit and write and you craft it and you tell it and you want it to work and it just won't work. It's like the little bird in the nest that you want to fly and it doesn't, like, and you get in the nest with it, you put on a bird suit, you're like, fly down, and it just, every time you say it, it just goes down like a stone. And there's other jokes that you don't even write, and you get on stage and they come through you and they're just like, I'm here now in spite of you. You just happen to be the guy that got in the way of it. It's like, and that's like what, getting it all the way back. You can't prepare if you want the podcast to be completely, and I hate saying organic, but it's the only word.
Yeah.
Genuine, funny, in the moment. You know what I mean? Like, because then you're
an extrovert. Like, I feel like, here's the thing, I have a question for you.
Please.
And going back to stand-up and when you started, because this is kind of what I'm dealing with, and it's like hit or miss, where I'll get on stage sometimes, and I'm like, I got this shit, and I'm just whipping my dick out, and it's great. And then there's times where I'm like, I feel like I could collapse here because everyone's staring at me, and like this anxiety where it's almost like I had 5 cups of coffee. Did you ever get that anxiety, ever?
Not anymore, because it's...
But did you in the beginning?
I did, but once you realize, it's like, it's you. Like, you have to... It gets back to what we're saying. You have to believe in what you're saying, and it has to be... As the Buddha once said, if we don't go within, we go without. And it's a fact. Like, if it's not coming from inside you, well, you're going without what you need.
Inside you, that's our podcast. He's, bringing it in.
But if you say, you know, like if you believe in what you're saying... There's times I say stuff, I don't think it's funny. If I tell jokes about my niece, my nephew, or my cat, I swear to God, I think people are laughing because I'm like, they're looking at me like, well, this is obviously funny. You know, like we convinced them. But how many times have we done this? And maybe you haven't yet, but you will. I want to be wrong, but I'm not. You will. We all do it. Like, you'll do a joke that's funny, and then suddenly you won't think it's funny. Maybe it won't work once, so you'll be telling this joke to people, and it's funny. But it's not funny because your face is like, I'm telling a joke that's not funny. Yeah. And people see that. And they're like, why is this guy, what happened to the funny guy that was telling his jokes? Now he's just like, and they see it. And I honestly believe it's that sometimes, you know?
Yeah.
But there's also something to be said. It's funny because you believe it's funny and it translates that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. I mean,
I'm jealous though, because clearly, as he's shown
Because
us
you don't
today-
have a Gap Kids t-shirt you're wearing?
yeah, as
you don't dress like a toddler.
he's shown us clearly today. He's very quick, right?
Yeah.
And I'm so jealous of my friends who aren't even comedians, but like it almost feels telepathic. Like I finished the sentence and I'm taking the breath in from the last exhale of my sentence, and they already have the quickest quip.
Yeah.
That almost feels like they had a time machine. They went ahead and looked at what I said and developed a perfect quip over the half hour it took to come back and like.
Jim Norton's like that. Jim
Yeah,
Norton is one of those
sitting on
comedians
it.
that is like fucking like that's one of his gifts even on the radio. I think
Yeah.
even more so than stand, but he can just come up with something very quickly and you're like, oh my god. that was
Yeah, I'm
great.
so fucking jealous of that shit.
But it's like anything else. The more you do it, the better you get at it.
Yeah.
That's simply it. Anything. The more you like something, the more you do it. The more you do something, the better you get at it.
Yeah.
The better you are at something, the more you can get paid for it. It's that simple.
Right.
Always has been.
Yeah,
No
I
matter
was-
what you're doing.
I was not this good of a doctor day one. You know, it's like
Yeah.
it
Right.
took practice.
A lot of people had to die for him to get good.
You're the guy in the AT&T ad. He's pretty okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Guess
Just
who just
okay.
got reinstated?
Now-
Me? No. Close though. Close.
Geno, can Sadra check your prostate? Can we do that before you leave?
No.
Why?
It's for him, not
Come
for
on.
me.
This is we have video rolling too, so we need this to
I
happen.
don't want you to. We talked about this. I
It's
got.
like he just got health insurance.
Yeah.
This is like next
All
level.
you can do is say, like, no, maybe next time. Maybe next time.
We're becoming the Howard Stern show from the '90s. Let's check his prostate.
And I'll
Do
tell
anal
you-
ring toss.
I'll tell you, I had a hemorrhoid when I was in college, and thank God it's gone. But to this day, I am a smash and grab in the shitter. In, out, boom. I don't dawdle in
the
there.
way to
I'm
be.
not on my cell phone, not playing Candy Crush or Words with. I'm like, I'm crushing something, but it ain't candy. You know what I'm saying?
That's actually
Adam?
what we recommend.
Adam,
to
you
do.
know what I'm talking about, huh? Huh, buddy?
It's funny. So this is the third podcast in which we brought up hemorrhoids because Sadra is not a fan of sitting and.
It's not me that I'm not a fan. It's
Yeah.
your asshole. I'm just telling you that's what we recommend is don't sit on the shitter with
That
your
guy
phone.
Kevin
you know.
shits for half an hour.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah,
Don't
really.
do that.
Yeah, it's his thing. It's his thing.
I do dating apps on the shitter.
Yeah.
And if the smell of my shit comes into like one of the photos, that it's a swipe left because I'll associate her with the scent of my shit.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
very Pavlovian.
It is.
Or
Yeah.
is it B.F. Skinner? Either one.
But the test is this: if the scent of my shit isn't detracting from how hot she is, she's got to be that fucking hot.
Yeah, she's smoking.
Or she's smoking. Yeah.
She's smoking.
So that's kind of what I do, but I have no hemorrhoids. At least I don't think I do. Although we just discussed that
You would know.
I have blood.
You would know.
Almost everyone does have hemorrhoids, but don't forget there's two types. There's the external, which you would actually see, and then there's the internal, which only I would see, unless
Yes.
they're so bad that they're starting to come out. Then, yeah.
Why'd you wink when you said
Yeah.
only I would see it?
and stick your
Weird.
tongue out with your
Just weird, right, Adam? It's weird.
stick his tongue out also.
And he edited out if you play your cards right. Why would you do that?
And also, why did you grab Geno's ass?
It's just so stupid. It's so dumb. It's
Yeah.
just dumb.
It's silly, is what it is.
Oh, my God.
My nephew, here's the story I'll just tell but I love it. Like my nephew, when he was like 7 or 8,
Right.
they used to watch Family Guy. Excuse me, they watched The Simpsons, but Family Guy's too dirty, right?
Okay.
And so so when they do the crossover episode a couple years ago, right? Like he's 8 or 9. And his parents are like, "All right, Nick, we'll let you watch the crossover Simpsons Family Guy episode, okay?" So they watch it. They're like 5 minutes in, and he just looks at his parents and is like, "Can we watch this with Uncle Geno?" I'm sorry. That's the top of my fucking resume as a human being. That makes me the greatest uncle ever. It's just not as funny without Uncle Geno because these jokes are so stupid.
That's
Yeah,
so
I get
wrong.
this. I feel like you would be a big Family Guy
It's
contributor. You know?
I say that like about, and that's how I explain mine and Berg's show because
Yeah,
like we're
yeah.
comics and you hate watching like but like I'll watch a clip of that show just
Yeah.
to see how this thing went, and then I'm watching my whole show, and whether I'm watching that show, whether I'm watching In Hot Water or Family Guy, it's the same thing. I'll just laugh and be like, "This is so stupid.
Right.
This is so stupid," but I love that.
But you probably
know?
loved like slapstick. Like you probably loved like
Slapshot?
airplane and like
Oh,
fucking
yeah.
Naked Gun. Like,
Oh, without a
oh my
doubt.
god, and the Kentucky Fried Movie and all.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
How can you not like those?
Oh my god.
Yeah, they are. They're fucking gold. The funniest movie going right now, The Other Guys. You ever see The Other Guys?
Yeah.
Like
Never saw it.
there's no middle ground. People are like, that's so dumb.
That's why it's amazing,
so
right? Yeah.
fucking funny. Oh,
Do you ever watch like really bad
you don't think
movies?
I said this is Virgo. It's like you don't think I'm a good cop, do you? And he goes, no, I've told you this numerous. I've been very clear about that. I said it numerous times to your face.
Sorry.
I always say that word. You don't think I'm a good cop? No, I've been very clear about that, Geno. I said that numerous times to your face. It's just so funny.
Is there anything that's on TV now that you think is funny? Probably not.
Yeah.
Really?
Well, I watch. It's all Hulu stuff. AP Bio, I think is hilarious.
What is it? What is it? I don't know.
That's the guy from Always
Glenn
Sunny,
Howerton
right?
from Always Sunny, and my brother was a teacher, and my brother is he's like Kevin Brennan. He's like miserable, but he's not. He's just happy when he's the greatest dude ever. He's a great, but it's like it's an angry teacher, so that's really funny. And I'll tell you what I've been watching. HBO Barry. Have you watched that?
No, I heard it was good.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
When I was a kid growing up, I watched Happy Days, and I'm like, this is, and I watched it, but it was always dumb, and Henry Winkler was on it.
Yeah.
Henry Winkler, the last two things I've seen him on, Barry, and before that, Arrested Development. He's one of the funniest actors alive right now. I'm not just trying to. He is. Barry is so laugh out loud. Barry's as funny as Saturday Night Live is not anymore. which I think of because Bill Hader was probably one of the last guys. This is what Saturday Night Live does because I'm watching with some friends a couple weeks ago because they watch him like all they do is take a skit and put like and we'll have Alec Baldwin be Donald Trump and we'll have this and they're like now everyone laugh at the outset and we'll just say nothing.
Right.
It's Weekend Update, which is still hilarious, and nothing else.
Do you watch any YouTube comedy?
Not really.
No, okay.
Why? Like
just
what?
just because I feel like there's certain parts of the YouTube comedy genre that I feel like would be your
Because it's
vibe.
silly.
I'm
It's-
sure there is.
yeah.
I watch Geno's picks every football season. That's
what's that?
That's my YouTube show.
Well, here's and I
do
also feel like
football
if you
shows.
start watching more YouTube comedy, you can definitely fuck younger girls because like now you know what
they
they're
like, yeah.
because you exactly like you have like what to talk about. There's
Yeah.
something to relate to.
But I'm trying to think. Like I don't watch anything on Netflix anymore. Like
Yeah, I'm not a big Netflix guy.
like I
myself.
have them all. I don't know why I got regular TV.
Yeah,
I don't.
There's nothing on television. It sucks.
and
It's-
and all I have a smart TV, so I watch every Phillies game because you just go to
Right.
ML whatever you want to watch on. And you take the NHL, you take those three letters and you type Reddit stream, and you can see any
Yep,
game,
Yep.
any feed. So I
Right,
watch
yeah,
every
NFL,
fucking Phillies
yeah.
game,
You're big-
every
you're
game.
Big sports guy, huh?
I love sports. They're a metaphor for fucking life. They really are. You work well as a team. You get up when it matters. You know, you're a leader. You lead by. Trying to think you said last year Odell Beckham Jr. was a cancer and Saquon Barkley would win over the clubhouse because he's a classy guy making 1/10 the money. I did. Oh, wait, it was me. It was me. I'm trying to think you said Kirk Cousins. Oh, sorry, Adam. Cousins is a terrible. Thanks for getting that. Is a terrible quarterback that can't beat good teams and bet his friend $500. I did. I was drunk. I didn't remember making the bet, and he told me I won. That they wouldn't make the playoffs with Kirk Cousins, and they didn't.
See,
When you say 100 things about football every day, you remember the 3 you were right about.
So
Would you like to hear the 97 things I was wrong about?
I wish I was more of a sports guy. I only got into MMA
The Patriots aren't going to win 9 games this year.
Wrestling.
I said that.
and bodybuilding. I wish I could digest everything you fucking said because like I never grew up like I grew up in a sports family. My brother was like a hockey
We
player.
were the opposite. My dad wasn't into sports. Go on.
But
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
but I loved WWF. Like I loved watching Hulk Hogan. Like
Oh,
that's,
sure.
That's
'Cause
how I
you're
got
a
into.
man,
Like, that's,
goddammit.
well, that's why I
I'm not a
wanted.
big wrestling guy, but
Oh yeah, but that's
I'm
why.
not anymore, but I loved it.
Well, yeah, back in the day, I had all the fucking action figures, and that's why I wanted to look like that. So
Right.
like, but that
Wow,
was, but that
that's
was
neat.
But I'm saying that was my thing. So like, to me, that was like the shit, and because I thought it was real. But then I went from that. Yeah, it's the beer. It has.
No, I wasn't sure if I was taking his. Go
Oh
on,
no,
sorry.
you're good. So yeah, but that was the shit for me, and then MMA became the shit for me because I'm like, that's real. They're not
Right.
as big and bulky, but they're beating the fuck out of each other. Then when you go from that to like, the Jets are throwing a ball around. It's like, to me, I couldn't get into sports the same way I can get into people beating the fuck out of each other.
Right.
My brother was big into hockey, so he tried to get me into hockey.
Berg is nuts about hockey.
He's
The-
Canadian, no?
The Maple
That's it.
Leafs break his heart. Like I'm
Yeah.
a Charger fan. I'm all Philly, but football in the Charger, and it's just the same thing. They can't wait to break your heart every year.
Yeah.
I can't do hockey.
Really?
I can't either, but the people that get into it get the fuck.
Oh, people that are into it are.
You're
fucking
not
into
Canadian, Sadger, are you?
No.
Okay.
The best team in hockey this year was the Lightning, right?
I don't
And
know.
they said they tied the record for wins in a regular season.
Oh, that's the number one seed.
And then they got to the playoffs, and I said they're going to lose. You know why I said they're going to lose? Because for some reason, people started calling the Tampa Bay Lightning. I never heard this. The Bolts. You know who's nicknamed the Bolts? The Chargers.
Right.
And they cannot win in the fucking postseason to fucking save their life. And the fucking the Buccaneers, the Lightning lost 4 straight games to the worst playoff team in hockey, the Columbus Blue Jackets.
Oh my
You know
God.
why they're called the Blue Jackets? Because the word faggot it was already taken. Did you know that?
Oh my God, who took it?
That's not a thing. Trying to piss people off at the end of the podcast.
All right. So
man.
speaking of the end of the podcast, I think we've said all we need to say.
Did we?
Well,
Did we?
we found out Geno does not have STDs. He had chlamydia.
Right.
It's gone. So he's
Had pneumonia, had chlamydia.
he's clear. He's
Right.
STD free.
Did you-
He's clear to work.
Did you know there's a chlamydia version of pneumonia?
There is not.
Yeah.
Is
Go
there?
on.
Is it really?
Chlamydial pneumonia
Now,
Oh my-
do you get that in your dick or your lungs?
in your lungs. Yeah.
You get it in your lungs from swallowing semen. It goes down the wrong tube. Adam, why are you writing stuff down now, Adam? That's weird.
That is like what is it?
How bored are you? We don't hang out. What? All right, I'm back.
It's called chlamydia. What? Chlamydia, gonorrhea.
Chlamydia pneumonia.
Chlamydia. That's like the end bad guy of a super game, like a game.
Jordan's not a giant muscular meathead. What's it called? Chlamydia and pneumonia again? It's called chlamydia pneumonia. Got it.
Yeah.
I will not forget that.
There's
I
the,
will not forget that.
there's the
one.
brain and the bronze here. Okay. Let's just keep in mind who the brains are here.
It's
Okay.
so stupid.
Look, girls don't fuck me because of my brain. Girls fuck me because they're desperate.
Because of ethanol, which is the drug thing.
Right. Anyway, where can people see you, Geno?
You can see me every Monday through Thursday, 4 days a week. Compound Media. You can go to my website, Geno Bisconte. Just like it sounds, Genobisconte. Trust me, if you spell it wrong, it'll pop up. And my Twitter is Geno Bisconte, PA, personal assistant, but it's really me because I got banned with my real name. But trust me, just Google Geno Bisconte. And
Was it because of ISIS faggot?
no, it was because I threatened someone with a hate crime, which I didn't do. Well, you know me, very violent. And I tried to do something Buddhist and called someone a nobody. I'm like, and it's my fault for even responding. But I'm like, this guy's a nobody. And he'll find out soon enough. And I meant that like, oh, I called him a faggot, but I spelled faggot with 2 9s instead of 2 Gs, which makes me an actual faggot. And I called him that angrily and then said, but he'll find out he's a nobody soon enough. And they read that like I was threatening a hate crime. And they're like, well, just fight it. I'm like, I'm not fighting Twitter. I'm not fighting these people like because I'm like, then I'm engendering the problem. Engendering is not the right word. It means giving it life to.
No, then you're becoming a faggot.
Yes, and I'm like, from the point, I'm like, yeah, everything on Twitter is real. Nothing on Twitter is real.
Right.
Nothing.
Right.
No Instagram?
Instagram, Geno Bisconte. It's all pictures of my
That's
cat.
awesome. Okay.
6.
Of your cat.
I have a cat, 6. I found her like 7 months ago.
That's adorable.
It is. It's like, she was meant to be my cat. Like, I believe. Found her like, I was subletting and she was in my
guys,
backyard. How is Costello still on? She trying to get a laugh? Fucking, should we just make it a fucking telethon?
See, here's the thing. If you think Geno is a
Terrible
bad guy,
person. Get in line, bitch.
he's got a cat.
Who wants to get
He
back
can't
at their
be-
father?
He can't be bad. He's got a cat.
The cat I found.
Well, all dog people now hate you, right?
No, but I love dogs too. But
Okay.
do you have dogs?
No.
You can't in New York.
It's hard, yeah.
Like Berg has a dog. He has a little Chihuahua, which I get, you know. But you see people. I saw someone walking a fucking Saint Bernard. Might have been a reindeer. I don't know. Walking a. It's like, how do you keep that in Manhattan? How?
Because they have slaves.
Yeah, I don't care if you have slaves. We proved that's a wonderful business model. But you can't. Like my cat's great. You know, they're just like
If you have
come
enough money-
home.
if
It's
you
like,
get-
hey, we're
yeah.
hanging
yeah,
out.
very
Yeah, they're the
convenient.
best.
Yeah.
They're very zen.
Yeah.
It's true. If I wasn't allergic, I'd probably have one. But dogs definitely have more maintenance. If you have a fuckload of money in Manhattan, yeah, you could have a dog.
But I wouldn't do that. Like I grew up on a farm in South Jersey. We had dogs. We had. They were all out. Like, and I love them. They're the most happy, loyal. They're the great. But it's like I'd feel bad. But all right, hey, here you go. Welcome to my 3-room apartment. I'll be back in an hour to let you take a shit on the sidewalk, right near where I did. I marked a spot. It's a good one.
Well, on that note, we typically have guests that talk a little bit more.
I'm
But Geno, you've been amazing. Thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun.
Thanks
This
for
is a
having
lot
me,
of fun,
buddy.
dude.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
And go see
Come
him.
by our podcast sometime, both of you, and plug it.
Yeah, that'd be
would
great.
love it.
That'd be amazing.
Okay,
All
I'll
right,
give
dude.
you the info. But you got to get up early to go for like.
fuck.
Well, that's people always like, why don't you have?
You know what, Geno? I like you so much, I might be willing to take you up.
But
on that.
we hate. Like we used to have comics on all the time.
Yeah.
Now it's like the show's from 9 to 10, and we fuck around for the first half hour.
Where is it?
It's 35th and 7th compound, but it's like
Oh, perfect. I'm right by there.
it's worth it then. But half the time we're
That's
like,
where you-
hey, do you mind getting up at like 7 a.m. to watch me and Berg tell dick jokes for 40 minutes,
Right.
and then you can come on for 20 and try and just hang on for dear life? Yeah, it's a good time.
Yeah, I'll be happy.
But we'd love to have you on to plug this. This was a great time.
Dude, that was
Yeah.
fun,
It's
man.
a brilliant premise, but yeah, Just show up and do it. Don't fucking rehearse.
Yeah, we're not going to rehearse, and we're definitely going to take your advice and tell more faggot jokes.
I killed it.
Oh my god!
I killed it.
So that's the last time we see Geno on our podcast. Okay.
My dad used to have 3 drinks at breakfast. Boy, could mom take a punch. What?
You're lucky Adam's replacing this table after the show.
With what? With what? A card table that's bigger? What the fuck? How small is this?
It's a small room.
Yeah, it really is.
It is.
Really.
I like it. It's cozy.
Yeah.
You need one of those flaps to come down.
How do you end the show, Geno? Because we're trying to figure out how to end the show.
Well, you just say, well, you do the plugs.
Right, you do the plug, and then you just let it fizzle out. Should we do a fade from here? Like when you plug your shit, should we fade it from like where we're talking?
No, do you have some outro? What's that?
They just turn the equipment off.
Don't you have Sue Costello comes in and fucking screams, I heard that!
Basically, Adam says, I had enough of this shit and goes home.
Yeah. That's the shit. You're like, that's a show. See you next week. Something like
Oh, yeah,
that.
okay.
See, part
You
of the
need a
problem is-
doctorly catchphrase.
Well, I have it for
You
my
need-
own thing, which I would
Which
love
is
to
what?
have you on as well.
Oh, I'd love to, but you need a phrase that combines, and we talked about this. You're the preventative medicine.
Yes.
You're the restorative medicine.
Yeah, I
you
think
know?
we definitely got to play off of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But we're gonna end it like this. Thank you guys for listening to our podcast. I think that's good, right?
Yeah, but you'd be like, this is reminding you either take a shot at working out or take a shot at, I don't know, something like that. You know, I can feel your fucking look, Adam. You didn't volunteer anything.
Yeah.
You just sit there making the face. Hey, well, here's the reminding you, it could be worse. It could be Sue Costello. That's the show.
All right. Fuck.
Shit, we're gonna listen to this.
All right. Thank you guys. Good night.